is up, guys? Hey, look, I did it without a weird sound effect or screaming noises or something. I was actually reading tip-ups, so that's why I'm late, but we are going to talk about something that has zero relevance to the current time of year, but why not do it anyways? Us all being kayak guys, I wanted to do a little bit about our favorite kayak accessories, and I do want to add a little detail to it. Is it doesn't have to be like a actual kayak accessory. It could be something that you modified or tweaked to go on your kayak, because let's be honest, one of the funnest parts of owning a kayak is doing a weird mod to it. Like,
Right.
I mean, that's some of the coolest stuff that I've done is like just weird mods that aren't technically supposed to be there that end up being like the best feature, or people are like, wow, what did you get that from? And I'm like, I got bored and made it. I didn't really buy it, but so it's actually the only reason I thought about getting a 3D printer. It's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down.
So funny that you say that. There's actually a DIY guy that I've seen videos. I think he owned like a Jackson R or something, but he uses 3D printer to make a couple of electrical boxes for his kayak, so that he could run all like a switch panel, and then he 3D printed like a catchboard holder, so it fit in between the seat partition on his R.
Nice.
So yeah.
Did you see Alex Rudd want big adventures for next year?
I'm not the least bit surprised.
He was in at the end of the season. He was in Hobie, and he was one of the victims of the we'll say lesser quality that's been plaguing Hobie a little bit. And so he kind of like pivoted, and then all of a sudden he was in a PWR, which I think he got hooked up with by like Chad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
Makes sense.
And then all of a sudden, like, he just put a video. I just saw a short he put up that he's got a Titan X and a RVR, I think, is what he ended up with for his riverboat. So he got an RVR and then a Titan for the bigger water.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
I'm surprised he went with the Titan.
How are you?
The XTR.
Maybe it was an XTR. I don't know. I don't know Bonafide's hulls very well.
Mm.
And they have so many goddamn models. Like,
Right.
they have 100 different models.
Yes and no. I mean, but the funny thing about them is they all share a very similar build.
Yeah.
They're just meant for certain things at certain, times, like the river for the rivers. And I think probably, so I like the design of the XTR, like, a lot. But that, I've seen that boat in person when I was down in Guntersville. Austin Hoover had one. And that thing's a Cadillac.
It's too much almost, yeah.
That boat is a boat.
Yeah.
It is definitely a boat. But like, I think the PWR is probably the best overall, like, combination kayak where you can fish rivers, you can fish lakes, ponds, it doesn't matter. It's like the best overall for any of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably one of the most customizable.
Yeah. I will say that's one thing about, like, I loved my old, I actually kind of have buyer's remorse a little bit on my native. I love my native. I've had good success with it, but the Old Town is like the least customizable. But as far as like hull, that thing is so fucking rock solid that, like, and the drive, like, as far as a bulletproof kayak, like, anybody who asks me what they should get for their first fishing kayak, I tell them an Old Town, because the drive is zero maintenance and rock solid, and that hull, you can do pretty much, you can throw it off your truck and it's fine. Like, it's heavy, but it's not like my native heavy.
Yep.
And it's just solid. Like, I'm actually going to be selling my Old Town, but that's so I can give some of that money probably to you so I can buy a trolling motor. But But part of me doesn't want to sell it because I can use that as like a throw and go or a backup, but
Right.
I kind of want to upgrade. But so first question I'm gonna ask Chris is your kayak is older. Have you had trouble finding like accessories and work with it? Because it's like older.
Oh, your audio
You know,
just.
oh, you don't have any audio?
Oh, there you go. You're
Okay.
back now.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Because your kayak's a little bit older, have you had trouble finding like accessories to work with it, or not?
No,
Really?
I mean, again, like you, I've adapted mine. I took off my top plates that go right by my knees. I have a Predator, so
Right.
it has the top plates right in those little side pockets. And I took those off and just put T-track on. And so on one side now I have my graph, my whole live scope system on that one side, and the other side I just have that. And then in those pockets I put 3600 series tackle, 2 on each side. So I have all my tackle I'm using for the day right there. So it's with being able to slap some T-tracks on there, you can do so much, and that's how I adapted it.
That I will say that's the one thing they did with the Pro that I was very happy with. That fucking crappy Scotty track that they put in the original Old Towns was not rugged enough.
Right.
It flexed a lot, and you had to, like, if you were trolling like a rod holder or something, it was not that happy.
Right.
So that was very happy. That's actually, to be honest, that's my buyer's remorse, is that when I saw the Pro and they put the track on the outside,
right,
and they went with the T-track, the aluminum T-track, and they actually created the rudder handle even was a lift instead of a turn sideways, so it wasn't in the way of your rod holder and stuff. Like, I was like, damn it, because those were the things I didn't like about the Old Town that they fixed. And then they added the e-port, the pass-through. They didn't really do e-ports, but they did like the Yak Attack pass-through stuff. So
I think it's more like that. Yeah, and I use my plates. Every plate I have on there has, if I don't have something in it, it's ready to be adapted. That's how I've just adapted over the years. I just make it what I want, and it's all about being comfortable, right? Like,
so it's about space management,
right?
And it's also about, like, for me, a lot of these guys, I don't understand, like Bailey, for example, with the big fucking like 10-inch screen on one side and the big 10-inch screen. I would end up cracking my screen. I can't have like. You would think that, dude, but even with where I have mine, I had to change mentally how I fish, because when I skip, like, I roll cast, and when I would roll cast with a fish finder out there, I'd end up slapping my fish finder every time. And it got to the point where, like, that's actually why I moved my transducer arm to the left instead of the right, because what was happening was I was coming back and hitting my arm on the freaking handle. Because I cast like a sidearm pitcher most of the time. So I end up like screwing things up. That's actually also why I moved my rod holder. So that horizontal rod holder that Yak Attack, the side stage, that thing, I caught a rod and blew a reel up in a tournament because I went back and it hooked into the rod, and when I went forward, it fucking blew a reel up. And it's because it was on the same side as I was casting, and I had to change stuff around. But Jesse has a little bit of a different perspective, because you essentially were rigging a boat, but now you're going to be rigging a kayak, right? Because you're going with the Kusa.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, anybody who's familiar with the Jackson and the Kusa X and the NARS knows about the side, the rod tubes coming down the side. So that was part of the reason why I decided to like cut down on how many rods I bring with me on average too. And again, just being more efficient. As far as like my personal equipment that I'm like all about, probably the little track packs.
Those are nice.
I gotta say, the little track. So the way I had mine set up this year, I had actually purchased a 36-inch tri-track from Jackson. I removed the the current track system that was on the front of my Blue Sky, and I put the 36-inch tri-track across it, and I was able to put 4 of those track packs across the front, and it just made it really efficient for me to be, because I had one of the boxes was set up as like all my chatterbaits.
Wife called.
I had 2 levels of that. I had another one that was like swim jigs and spinner baits. So the swim jigs were on top, and the spinner baits were, on the bottom and in like open compartment. And then I had what the heck was the other one? Like smaller swim baits and underspins, and then what was it? Jigs under that. And then the other one, the 4th one was like my crankbaits, square bells, and like mid divers and deep divers. And then I had frogs and another one. But the great thing about it was, that like you're going to bring enough baits where you're not going to like run out, but you don't have to bring a giant tackle box full of the same bait. You can just, take a half dozen of freaking jackhammers or something and stick them in there, and you can combine multiple techniques into one of those little track packs. I mean, you can even take all your soft plastics and stick them in there.
I use them for specifically. I have a double stack one, and one of them is like my Senkos that I use, my trailers that I'm using, any baits that I'm currently like using, like if I'm using a chatterbait, whatever trailer I'm running on that goes in there. If I'm running a wacky rig, which I'm always running a wacky rig, but I always have like at least 1 pack of the color worm that I'm running in there. I'll also use it like a junk drawer. So like if I take a crankbait off that I know I'm going to put back on, I throw it in there so I don't have to turn around and grab it out of my bag. But those are nice. I will say they do loosen up over time. You do have to be careful with them a little bit, but
that may also snap the sides of the edges or sides of the connectors. They'll snap off if you put too much pressure on them.
Yeah.
So I had to replace a couple of them this past year just because they kept, they'd catch on something and get a little bit too much pressure. And then at that point, it's like you can't lock them in anymore. So your freaking track pack will come flying off.
You know the trick for that? You drill a hole in the bottom and just put the T-track right through the bottom of it. That's what I did.
Yeah.
They can't come off if they're bolted on. That's what I ended up doing with mine, because I had a problem with like you said, the way the clips lock in, they get flexed, and then it will, like I literally got home from a tournament and my track pack was sitting on the deck of my trailer.
Wow.
And I was like, oh shit. So then I just ended up drilling holes to pop them in there. So the wife called me while we were I was like, that's why I looked down at my phone. I was like, everything okay? Because she called me and I was like, she forgot I had the live stream tonight. But the other thing that I noticed, and this is kind of like not a non-accessory, but I have an affinity for the shorter rods when I'm in a kayak. Like specifically my jerkbait rod. Any rod that you have to like pop or like it's kind of nice having a shorter rod that you don't have to worry about, like, because I'll stand up and fish a jerkbait, but sometimes I don't want to, and being able to like have like a 6-7 that I can just continuously pop, or like a top water popper, is kind of like, I don't think I'd ever use, I guess I would, but like I used it in Bobby's boat when I went with him, and it felt weird using a 6-7 rod in a bass boat because it seems almost too short for that. But like in the kayak, I noticed like having shorter rods, or like when you get like up under overhanging brush and shit, it's really nice to be able to like have control, but be able to like flip and pitch up under that crap and not have to worry about catching stuff over top of you the whole time.
Yep.
Very true.
Yeah, I'm probably going to change out my rod line this year and start going with some shorter rods, especially since I'll be switching out my boat platform.
I can tell you a brand that has a whole line of them in that
you can't put them in your hand, let you play with them.
Yeah, exactly. I can tell you from experience that there's an entire pile back there of them. I think I only have like 4 that aren't Fish Extreme anymore at this point. So I bought my. So yeah, I was gonna tell you this, Chris. You're gonna laugh at this. I bought my first St. Croix rod today.
Did you? Little ice fishing one? Oh, you just froze.
And what the fuck?
Now we got to keep talking and keep this rolling.
Oh, shit. His face right now is like perfect.
He's focused, isn't he? He's trying to grab his ice fishing rod.
Yeah.
How funny is that?
Hopefully that doesn't mean we got cut off.
You ran your little track packs 1, 2, 3, 4 like that?
Yep. And then I also on the side handles, I was able to put 2 each there. The only problem with that is when my battery died on me and I had to break out a freaking paddle and start paddling that thing. I ended up knocking off my chatterbaits. I lost $500 in chatterbaits.
You had them all in one box?
Yes, they were in one box, and it was primarily jackhammers, but I had some JDM ones in there too. But that's when I was like, yeah, I don't like doing that anymore. I'm again going to come down to consolidating and figuring, all right, which baits am I planning on using the most this year? And I'm like, okay, I like my smaller, like 1 to 2 ounce swim baits, like the. Did you freeze?
Sorry, I was just making sure we were.
It was the fishing gods cursing me for talking about a non-fish extreme.
Ice fishing rod, yeah. Jinxed it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice one. I like it. Did you get a new reel too, or same reel?
This actually is a reel I bought last year, so I wanted an inline.
Yeah, I didn't see that last year when I.
No, I bought it actually after you saw me. I bought it for small baits because what I found is the spinning rods you can't really drop those tiny jig heads and stuff like that. They get caught, whereas this one has like such loose, like this actually has a clicker drag.
Yeah.
And I actually put like 10-pound braid on it just to and then I'm just gonna run it to like a 4-pound like leader for like perch and crappie and stuff. But yeah, it's like an actual like.
Was length 36?
This actually is only a 30.
Oh wow, it looks.
But it's a light. It does look long. It's because the handle's a real handle.
Yeah.
It's not like your typical jig rod that has the stupid like little hand. It's heavy though. Like it's a lot heavier than a typical jig rod would be.
Hey, your wife said Merry Christmas and she just bought you 2 new rods.
Yes. No, she did. So she bought me. What she didn't know is she was buying me the ones that I had. She bought were mediums.
Yeah.
They're bigger ones so that one's for perch, and I bought those for like the walleye on.
Yeah, walleye and smallmouth.
It's actually a really cool.
We'll get you on some walleye.
It's a really cool set because what they did is they gave you and they're cheap, but actually. I'll be honest. I don't really understand why guys spend so much money on like tungsten jig heads that are like they're jig heads. Like a Swedish Pimple is the same as another brand. They're not. There's not a lot of difference.
Right.
Yeah, there's not a lot of difference, and you're stuffing a freaking spike or maggot on the back of it anyway. So they don't give a shit about the jig head anyways. Right. They really don't care. So the thing she bought me is it's a kit. It came with 2 rods, a bunch of like small varying size jig heads. It had a couple like they're not ripping wraps, but they're ripping wraps. Yeah. And what's cool about it is it's a 2-piece rod, so it has a medium and a medium heavy.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. So I literally can swap. So if I find I'm getting into bigger fish, I can go to the medium heavy and have a little bit more. Like if I wanted to throw like a bigger bait or whatever, I could throw a bigger bait on there and just swap the tip with the 2-piece. Yeah. So that one right there is going to be for like, perch and freaking like little fish where you need to feel the bite. But
yeah, she wants you to bring perch home.
Yeah, she gives me shit because what happens is I go fishing and I bitch about, I caught a bunch of perch today. And she's like, why didn't you bring them home? And I'm like, I was in the kayak. Like, the fuck am I gonna do with them until I get home? Am I gonna drag them on a stringer all day? Like, it doesn't really.
You don't want them in any time other than the winter, anyways. Like I've tried to eat perch in the freaking spring and summer, and they were wormy as hell.
Around me, every single perch has like 100 of those little parasite dots on them, and they're full of worms and shit.
Yep.
But I really want to do. And actually, Chris, you should come along on that one too.
That little lake by me, we could put you on good perch, I think.
Yeah.
I know where they were. It'd be a little bit of a walk, but not too bad.
No, my plan is, I'm thinking Christmas, dude.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm coming up Christmas Day.
Okay. Well, yeah, if nobody wants to go hunting, I could do that.
But
I have freedom to do what I want on Christmas Day, and all my kids that hunt with me, they all have kids now, so they don't get to go out. So I could probably do that with you.
Yeah, because I'm thinking. So I'm on call starting.
Michael.
Yeah, exactly.
And where do we go?
We'll go back to it in just a minute for sure.
Gotta keep us
That's
honest
right.
here.
Track the whip, Michael.
Yeah, that particular. I'm thinking I was gonna go to my slot lake, anyways, or up by you somewhere. But that was
yeah. We'll touch base, but we might make that work.
So,
I'll bring the live scope. You bring the camera. We'll find them.
See, dude, I am, speaking of kayak accessories, the live scope, right?
Oh yeah.
The Eagle Eye 9, if you're gonna go live scope on a kayak, is a solid choice to get into it.
I would like to have a bigger array, but
I was just about that. Was like, I was loading up for it. I was like, keyword beginner.
Right. Yeah.
My
kid might own that in a year or two, and I might have a better one.
It's one of those, like, it is an excellent unit because of the riggability. It's plug and play. You don't have to have the black box. You don't have to have all the accessories. You literally have a fish finder, and it's one transducer instead of two. Because a lot of the other units, if you want down or side or anything else, you have to have two units. Right. You have to have two screens. This is literally an all-in-one unit, and it's for the price point. Now, granted, I have a feeling that price point's not going to stay very long because with tariffs and everything else, I'm sure that's probably going to go up. But it was definitely useful, and I'm back and forth on whether I want to haul that all the way around for ice fishing.
Yeah, I got mine set up so good, it'll be perfect.
I could easily, because of the way that that arm I bought.
Yeah.
It comes with, I just gotta find it. It comes with a screwable base mount. So I could, for ice fishing, dude, I could just screw it onto freaking 2x4.
Right. Well, I'm lucky because I can use mine as it is, and I'm just gonna mount it to a milk crate.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking is like, for if I decide I want to use it for ice fishing, I could just screw that base plate on something that I could span across the hole because the arm rotates.
Right.
So I could easily just rotate it, slide it in, throw it in the sled, turn it, drop it in. The thing is, the camera almost accomplishes the same thing, just not as far of a distance.
Right. That'll be the difference.
And that's where you're going to be able to drop it down and look out 120 feet and go, yeah, there's fish over there. Right. Whereas I'm only going to be able to see fish in the general vicinity.
Right.
But I will say I'm not as big a fan of the kayak arm that I bought. I kind of wish I'd gotten a different one, because if I wanted to transition from that to a boat, I'm going to have to mod it.
I love my pole. I don't like my setup for an arm, but I made that myself most of it. So I'll come up with a better ball mount than what I have.
And I will say I was very against spending so much money on a black pack. I thought it was a dumb investment. For many years, I was joking about, like, why would you spend so much on a piece of plastic? You could do everything with the milk crate. I kind of like the fact that I spent the money on that thing, especially considering I'm overkill and double short stacked it. Because what's going to be nice for me next year is I'm gonna have that rigged with those. I don't know what they're called, but it's the tie down. So it's like the track with the loop, so that I can have cam straps on all four corners. Because the one thing about putting 2 short stacks on there is it's top heavy as hell, and it will tip over with the bungees. You can't just use the stock bungees anymore. But with the tie downs, I'm gonna have it rigged. The beauty of that is when I'm going back and forth from boat to kayak, I'm not going to have to grab sorter boxes and all my plastics and baits are in there. So when I transition to my boat, I just take that thing and throw it in my boat, and now all my baits have gone with me.
Is that waterproof in heavy rain like we've had this year? Like we had.
I've never had water in it. It's not technically waterproof.
Yeah.
It's water resistant so long as you keep it,
and you can't dunk it in the water, but I have a wilderness.
No, but if it's raining out there, it's pretty good. Like people are using it primarily for like their battery storage, which is what I'm gonna do on the Tusa is I'm gonna run my battery in there, and then the short stack is gonna go on top, and that's gonna be where all my soft plastics are gonna be.
I've seen, depending on what battery you get, like if you get a mini, I bet you
that's the problem. That's the problem with the minis right now. They're only in the 12 volt. I can't find a 24 or a 36 that's a mini. And since I'm going to be running probably a Torpedo off the back, then
you ain't gonna have a choice with a Torpedo anyways, because you got to use their battery.
Yeah, and I was thinking about Newport, but I was watching one of Darren Wendell's videos that he put out, and he was talking about their warranty is like jacked up. So like you can only do one warranty for one thing on that motor, and then after that you're fucked.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put this out there for you, buddy. Just little shameless plug here. But guess who makes a 24 volt mini? Watt Cycle.
What's the size on it though?
100 amp hour.
No, I know 100 amp hour. What's the dimensions?
9 by 5 by 8.
That's small.
What?
Yeah.
That one's a 12.
That's a 12, but they have a 24. There is a 24 in there.
Go to the 12.
Yeah, show me the dimensions on the 24, because that's the 12 that's saying it's the small one.
Middle of the screen.
Where was it?
That should be it right there.
I think it's
that's a group 24. That's not a mini.
Yeah, maybe it was group 24. I know they have one. They may have taken it off their site.
What's that one right there?
That one right there is a full size one. I'll have to look because I know I was talking to them at one point.
No,
they do this sometimes, which is kind of sketchy. They're like, oh, it's 24 volt. Yeah, it's 212.
Right, but it's 212.
Yeah, they do have one. I'll have to find it. I forget what. It's a little bit bigger than my 12 volt, but
yeah, I just got a. Let me see if I can remember the name of the company that I got my battery from.
Now Newport makes that battery, dude. That's not bad.
Right, they make that thin flat one, right?
They make a thin flat one that comes in its own case, kind of deal. It's kind of cool. A lot of guys put them under the seat.
The one, I already looked at that one, but like I said, that warranty has me like really questioning whether I want to go with Newport, because Darren when I was down in Guntersville, he was having some problems with his Newport, and freaking that thing was like clanking and all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
And so his I think it was his knuckle on the arm was busted, and then the shaft itself was like super loose.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Get that new power pole one.
Yeah.
But anyways, they were only fixing like one thing or something like that.
A new power pole one has got a lot of nut to it. That thing will go.
Basically, if like one thing goes 1 month and you get it fixed like under warranty, and your motor shaft or the drive goes like the next month, then you're up shit's creek.
Did you see the freaking Garmin motor?
That's right, the Garmin one. Yeah, not the power pole one, the Garmin one. That mounts on the back. That
battery. The battery I got was a Cycle Volt 25.6 volt 100 amp hour, and it's
Okay.
almost the same size as a 12 volt 100 amp hour.
Really?
Nice.
It's just a hair bigger. Let me see if I got the dimensions, or it's going to show me in millimeters is what
Does
it's
it tell
probably.
you if it's a group 27 or 24 or 31?
Probably 27, but
Probably a 27, which would be a good size for a 100 amp hour.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie, dude. It's hard. Batteries are tricky, like with kayak.
Yeah.
That's one thing from accessory standpoint. Like finding a battery that fits in the compartment you want to put it in
Right.
is tricky because
So it's 13.6 by 7.5 by 9.8.
that's not bad.
That's not bad.
Nope.
Not too bad.
And she's 40 pounds, which for 24, 100 amp hour, that's pretty
Dude,
decent.
It's that's the biggest thing with kayaks. I mean, that's a good like transition there is like lithium versus lead acid. You don't even screw with old batteries anymore. At this point, you can find a lithium at a decent price and you're gonna save so much weight and space in your kayak, and it's just not worth the charging time. That's something I never even thought of when I want lithium. Dude, it takes so fucking long to charge an AGM battery. Because you can't speed charge them like you can with a lithium. You have to trickle charge them. So like my battery, like I charge it while I'm watching TV when I'm done fishing that last day, and I can run like 100 amp hour. I run that 3 days with no problem running cameras and fish finder all day long, and it's fine. So
my 100 amp 12 volt that I used for my motor guide last year, I could run that when my family goes up to Maine. I run that fishing probably close to 8 hours a day and go the entire week without freaking recharging that thing. Dude, it doesn't even drop below 95%.
I've never had my watt cycle below like 60. And I've gone like on 4-day camping trips where I'm just fishing. Like that's one thing I love about it is that the lithium deal is like I'm going to St. Lawrence for 5 days. And it's not like one of the things that I'm like, well, I got to get a power site so I can charge batteries. I'm like, yeah, I can just run that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have hookups up there that I could like go. I could call Chris from eBay and be like, bro, I'm coming over to your house to charge my battery. But like, I could just show up at his house and he'd charge it for me. But the having a good battery, and honestly, if you can fit it. The answer to the question that people ask me, I've had people ask me, is get the bigger one.
Yep.
Don't go with the smaller one just because you don't need the bigger one, because the bigger one's going to allow you to fish more days without having to recharge it. And in some kayaks, like the Old Town, for example, you have to put it in a weird spot. And it's not easy to get to. So unless you're going to put in a charging system in there so you can charge it in your kayak, you're going to have to fucking take a cover off and reach up under there and unhook stuff to get it out of there to charge it. So not having to do that every day because you can get through 2-3 days without having to pull it out is so much better.
Yep. Not only that, most of your people out there, most of your average kayak anglers are running the 50 amp hour, 60 amp hour. And, they're like, oh, I can go like, 20 something miles at like a quarter, a third of the speed or whatever, whatever it is. And it's like, okay, but if you just increase a little bit of weight and you find the right battery, you can go to 100 amp and you can double your range.
And the thing is price wise at this point, now granted, again, economy is kind of doing some weird shit right now, but the difference between a 50 and 100 amp hour ain't much in price right now.
No,
not really. Not for what you're getting. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it is a little bit more money, but for the most part, you're not going to spend much more for 100 amp. That's why I'm going with lithium for my trolling motor when I get my boat fixed too. It's going to be a lithium. I'm going to get like a freaking, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. 250 or 269.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is for that, dude, with 24 volt, especially, you got to buy 2. They don't make a 24-volt lead acid. You have to put 2 in series or whatever. So you're still buying 2 $90 batteries if you're buying a lead acid battery. So you're really not, and you're adding 150
3
pounds
times
to your
the
boat.
weight, yeah.
Because those freaking lead acid those AGM, like the marine grade trolling motor batteries, are fucking 70 pounds a piece. Dude.
Yeah,
They're
70
not
to
light.
80, yeah.
They're not light. So
Yeah.
and they really have a shelf life. Like for example, right now, guys that like late season fish like Chris that goes out duck hunting, those lead acids freeze.
Yep.
They don't like cold, dude. They lose voltage in the cold.
They started all weekend.
Yeah, the lithiums do have some shutoffs built into them to protect themselves, but you can just warm them up.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is you got to get to a really fucking cold temperature before that happens. So
it's got to be pretty cold because I've had mine. I've had fucking frost that Salem tournament.
Yep.
I had frost on my fucking kayak and my battery started right up in the morning. So
on Sunday morning we set up, the decoys had 3 inches of ice sticking out all the way around them when we picked them up.
Yeah,
hour and a half we picked up and moved, but in that hour and a half they had a ring 3 inches all the way around every decoy.
Yeah,
that's how cold it was.
Yeah,
and that was on the Broad Lake.
Dude, this year is weird with weather. Like go down another rabbit hole, but like this is the earliest that I've even considered going ice fishing, and I'm a wimp. I'll be the first to admit. I don't know if it's smart or wimpish, but like I'm not one. I don't like. I went up to Kent Pond to check ice, and no one had walked on the lake yet, and I'm like, I'm not fishing this weekend. I could have probably fished, but I actually have a better peace of mind of like if I see tracks or a shanty,
right?
Then I'm like, okay, I know he at least got there and didn't die because I didn't hear about it because I'm local. So like I know at least he got to that point and was fine. But like there's a lot of guys like next year I'm gonna be fishing out of my boat like as late as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, I'd be fishing out of my kayak right now if I wasn't hunting.
I hate it. I hate it in the cold, dude. It's too fucking cold.
I like
it. Does
out there.
I tell you what, when I go first thing in the spring, like right after ice out, oh my god, it's freaking miserable. But
see, that's where like I think that's the thing though for me, right? Is in the spring it's just as miserable, right? But the excitement and anticipation of having not been on open water for so long, is
in the spring it's harder to find the fish.
It is, and it motivates me
right
to deal with it. Whereas, and it sounds really negative, like someone who does a YouTube channel and has content and all this shit. Like, I get to the end of the season and I'm like, is it really worth going out and getting one more fish and freeze my ass off? But when spring hits, it's like I haven't fucking been able to catch a fish not on a tip up in 4 or 5 months at this point minimum, and it's just the allure of being able to get out there and cast and fish that makes you able to endure it. And honestly, an accessory that probably isn't always the safest, but you know, a dry suit or like neoprene waders for that time of year make a huge difference. Because
I've been looking at dry suits because I'm like, it sucks being out there when you're not fucking wet. Imagine your ass falling in when you got a freaking 20-mile-an-hour north wind and it's like 38 degrees without the 32 degrees without the wind chill.
Well, and the thing too is when you're talking that early, a lot of lakes get drawn down hard, and you're not. It's almost impossible to launch a kayak without getting wet. There's no dock, and the water line is pretty freaking low. So you most of the time have to basically scoot your kayak off the shore with either your paddle or something to get yourself into deep enough water to even start paddling. So you pretty much have to get wet. So having like waders or dry suit or something. The freaking they make them. I've seen it.
Come on,
but,
dude! All you need to do is just get a heating pad and hook it into your freaking battery.
Yeah. Dude, they made Tidwee made a fucking heated camping chair now.
No joke.
So for ground blinds and duck hunting and shit, you can put that, and it's got the battery pack just like the heated jackets and stuff now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I looked at it for ice fishing because it would be nice hole.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
I don't sit down
I'm gonna
on
have to put some money aside to get one of those dry suits because they ain't cheap.
they're not
No.
cheap. They're not at all, but they're. I'll be honest. I said waders from a dad safety standpoint. Waders are not safe in a kayak
No.
because you're adding an anchor to yourself. But one thing, if you're gonna do it, if you're just gonna not listen to me and go buy them and do what I did and buy them, there is basically usually two types of straps on waders. Get the ones with the fucking buckles. Because in an emergency and you end up in the water, you can just squeeze and drop them. Whereas for some reason, the ones with the Velcro straps, when they get wet, they become almost impossible to separate for some reason, especially in cold weather. And then you're trying to rip them off in that bad weather, and it's not a good idea. And honestly, what I would recommend if you're going to do that and not do an actual wader is ice fishing float bibs.
Yep.
Because at least their flotation.
Right.
Because I use
they're
those.
warmer.
They are warmer. I have the float suit. I have a full float suit now because I have a jacket too. So, early season, it's kind of nice to have the windproofing and the buoyancy of if you did fall and you're got at least because you really can't. I mean, I guess you can, but like I wear my life jacket, but you have to basically stretch that thing out to the max fucking size to get it over your hoodie and all your layers in the wintertime to really use that effectively. Because a lot of people, and it drives me nuts, and I've done it, is they put it underneath their freaking coat or underneath their hoodie. It's not going to help you at that point.
I can't get it under my coat or hoodie. It's too thick.
You know what I bought for next spring is I bought one of the NRS Chinook ones.
Yeah. Mine's like that. It's not an NRS. I can't remember which company it is, but it's very similar.
I bought that for spring so that I have an actual, because I actually am not so sure the freaking CO2 in the auto inflates is going to work right. I don't know if that's going to go off in the wintertime. Like it may not. The CO2 might get so cold that it won't fucking fill.
Oh, true.
Because those CO2 cartridges do freeze when they get cold. So I'm kind of worried, like, is it going to go off? I'm actually going to do a test. I'm actually going to do a video next year because the one in my life jacket is probably expired at this point. And it's been through enough rainstorms where if people don't know how those work, it's basically fucking salt. Essentially what is in those is essentially a powder that as it gets wet, it dissolves the powder, which then releases a pin and it punches the CO2 cartridge. And eventually that shit gets like worn out. And it actually, when you go through enough rainstorms with your thing, eventually it gets to the point where it's just going to go off on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that happened to Christine Fisher. She was out there doing a video and and all of a sudden, kaboom!
It scares the shit out of you.
She squealed.
It's like getting hit with an airbag. It doesn't hurt, but it scares the shit out of you. But I'm thinking about doing a video, like, just showing how it works and just jump in with it and then swap it out. But it's
be a way to
and that's actually again, it's an accessory for kayaks.
You had one go off though, right?
2, 3 go off. So I had one. So one day I had one go off in my boat on Seymour. Actually, it was Echo. I put it in I took it off, put it in the area by where I sit and went fishing, and I didn't have my plug in my boat, and it filled my fucking cockpit of my boat up with water. And that's how I figured out I was sinking. Was my fucking life jacket? Well. And I heard it and I was like, what the hell was that? Actually, I had Bear fishing with me and he was like, what the fuck was that? And then I looked down and I'm like, why did that life jacket go off? And then I was like, oh shit, the water's level with the deck of my boat. Now that's a problem because I don't have an auto bilge in my boat. It's manual bilge only, which is going to be changed. That I'm putting an auto. I'm going to put a secondary bilge pump that's an auto in addition to the manual. But then so I ended up buying a new one because stupidly, and for some odd reason, it's actually cheaper sometimes to buy a whole new auto inflate than it is to buy the fucking recharge kit. So the brand I bought was not worth it. So then I had one. Where was I? I think it was a tournament actually.
It was right.
It was
before
right
the
before. It
tournament.
was It was like I think it was like a couple days before the tournament. I set my fucking kayak. I set my life jacket on my seat, and it just hung just enough over the edge of the freaking kayak that it blew up in my. So then I at this point carry a CO2 recharge kit, and I have that Chinook NRS in my truck, so that if I have I'm doing a kayak tournament and something like that, and where I have to have it all. I mean, I always wear it anyways, but I have to have it. I have the Chinook in my truck at all times.
Yeah.
I like my real one over the inflatable ones. It's got pockets, so I have my phone goes in there.
Yep, same here.
I can tell you I used to not, but I lost a little bit, so I think that's gonna make a difference on being more comfortable.
Yeah.
I just get hot with that life jacket on because those life jackets do insulate heavily.
Yeah, the one I have is really good. It's breathable. The straps up here aren't tight. I like it. I mean, I agree. Don't get me wrong. I get sweaty right there in the chest.
But other than that, and that's the thing is find one that you like and wear it. Fucking wear the damn thing. I get so irritated when I see guys out in the middle of Bombazine in fucking 2-foot waves and they're just not wearing anything. And I'm like, dude, it's not that big a deal to put it on. And I'll admit, and I'm in the boat, it's on when I'm under power because that's the law. But I take that thing right the fuck off as soon as it stops. As soon as I'm out of power, I'm on the front deck, I take it off. But in the kayak, it should be, as far as I'm concerned, it should be a law to just wear it. Because it's so stupid when you see guys in their canoes or their kayaks with it bungeed to the front of the kayak. You might as well not even have it.
Funny you say that.
It's a waste to even have it.
So, kind of a nearly tragic story when my family and I were up in Maine 2 years ago. There was a couple that was out there in a John boat, and he had a trolling motor on the back of it, and he ended up going overboard. Well, or I should say his wife went overboard, and then he jumped in after her out of instinct. Problem was he couldn't swim.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
So she ended up having to hold him up. The boat's going in fucking circles and they're yelling for help. And we're halfway across this 80 freaking acre pond. And it's are they yelling for help? And we're watching it because we're all out and fishing. It's towards the evening.
Right.
So we're all out. We had just finished dinner and stuff, and we're all out, and then it was what is going on? And I was watching the boat, and I could see somebody in the water, and then I saw the boat going in circles around him. I'm like, oh shit! And my cousin, he yells back to me. He's like, do they need help? And I'm like, dude, fucking go, because my boat at the time, I only had the motor guide, so I was weighed down as it was. And he had nothing. He has just a bare bones kayak, and he's a pretty strong paddler. That dude could easily go, 5-6 miles an hour paddling hard. And my boat was barely going 3. Anyways, he got to the guy and he was holding him up. And I showed up probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes after he did. The guy was about to go under. When my cousin got there, he was basically head underwater. And he pulled him up and he held him there until I got there, and I was able to actually get him leaning on my boat. And then we had a whole bunch of us around trying to hold the guy up. And he's probably was at least 350, and he was smoked. He was completely smoked. Freaking, he was done. But anyways, he had to, I basically freaking turned the trolling motor on, dragged him back to drag the whole flotilla back to shore. And, he did make it. He called the 911 and the paramedics came and they took him to the hospital and kept him overnight, but he survived, thing was, both of them had life jackets, but they were in the boat next to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, you go. I don't know how many guys' boats I've been in that they're
Think
bungeed
about
in the
that.
boat.
If you can't fucking swim, why would you be in a boat and not wear your life jacket?
Right.
It's dude, it's dumb because like I've seen a lot of guys have them like stashed in like in their boats. They have them stashed in like rod lockers. It's might as well not have it
Right.
at that point. It's doing you zero good. It
Yep.
drives me nuts. Is
It does. It's like, dude, it was freaking.
I think, Michael, that's
Yeah,
in New
that's in
York,
New York.
right?
in Vermont, I don't think we have. You just have to have it on the boat. It just has to
Yep.
be there.
Just on the boat for duck hunting. We don't wear it all
Yeah.
the time. We should. But
And
we
and
don't.
I will say, like, that's the thing. The argument I've had with guys about like okay, boat is different than kayak. I will say that right now. But at the same time, a bass boat, you could fucking step off. You
Right.
could slip off the side. It's not hard to fall in the water.
Absolutely.
Dude,
And-
you know how many times I've watched people fucking dump it right off the side?
Pros
Now,
do it.
granted, most of the time they're in shallow water, but that's even worse because if there's a stump down there and they go head first, thunk, there goes your head, and then you're fucking done.
And that's my argument
Right.
with the whole guys like in the canoe and the kayaks and stuff like
Yeah.
that. They're like, well, I'm a good swimmer. You can't swim if you're unconscious, bro.
Look what happened
Right.
at the freaking the
Oh.
Bassmaster down there, the kayak series down there in freaking Louisiana.
Yeah.
The fucking guy died the practice day before the fucking tournament. He drowned.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't have his thing on.
Yeah, if I had any control over the laws, if you're in, I'm gonna say a boat under 12 feet, you wear life jacket.
Yeah, we put ours on during duck hunting when
Yeah.
it's rough.
Oh, don't get me wrong, dude. I've worn them in the 25-foot boat on Ontario.
Yeah, oh, hell
You
yeah.
get some. You get out in a wave that when you go down in a wave and there's a wall of water on both sides of you, it makes you think about maybe I should throw a life jacket on. Like it's.
Yeah.
But I think if it was me and I made the laws, it would be 12 foot and under. You're wearing a life jacket. I don't give a shit if it's a John boat, a canoe, a kayak, doesn't
Right.
matter. Because once you get over 12, now you're talking 14-foot deep V's, and even John boats are wide and
That's true, Michael. Too. Yeah. You have to wear the inflatable one, no
yeah,
matter what. That's all
Yeah.
you have. And that's in Vermont.
Yeah.
Too.
And that's the thing is like the inflatable too is like the manual inflate. Again, it's like I don't understand the logic behind that because the whole point
Right.
of it is if you're in an emergency, you may not be conscious, and you're not gonna be
Right.
able to pull that lever.
Yeah. It's the dumbest thing, but it's like, you know, you got these headstrong people that are just like, I don't need it. It's not going to happen to me. And,
Oh,
okay, dude, you're playing Russian roulette. You might as well go down to the freaking down to the gun shop, get yourself a pistol, load that fucker up, you know, put a round in there and start spinning, and then put it to your face.
I mean,
'Cause
I'm the
it-
idiot. I'm the idiot that's going ice
Yeah.
fishing on Friday, and it's probably 2 to 3 inches of ice. But at the same time, like, I'm advocating for it. So if I'm saying it, then you know.
Right.
And the thing is it's like I have like a weird bravery because I grew up doing fucking Lake Ontario, and you won't see more violent fresh water than the fucking Great Lakes, dude. That shit turn.
No, Lake
Those
Michigan.
lakes turn on a fucking dime. Like you.
When I was in a Coast Guard boat, we snapped an antenna off the top of the mast. The top of the mast is 25
Yeah.
feet off the water.
Dude,
Snapped the antenna right off.
Yeah.
2 of them.
yeah,
Snapped
like
them right off.
it's you learn a respect when you fish the Great Lakes because it's not even the fact that it's rough, it's the fact that it could be calm in 20 minutes.
Right.
You're in hazardous situations. And we live in an area where we have another lake that does that a lot by the name of Champlain. Champlain's another one that's pretty infamous for.
It'll
And
pick
honestly, I'll tell you the truth. I would rather have an 8-foot roller on Ontario than a 3-foot chop on Champlain. Because
Yeah.
Champlain gets
Yeah,
fucking
we,
nasty.
Sunday was that way. We went out flat calm, set the decoys, those froze. We turn around, go to another spot. 3 hours later, we were in 3-footers. We go back to the boat ramp, flat calm, full speed send. And that was all within from we were on the water around 5. We got off the water at noon.
Yeah. No, we
went from flat calm to 3-footers to flat calm all in one.
we were on, I'll never forget it when I was a kid. We were in Oswego and we were fishing. I think at the time we were fishing out of Mexico Bay. And it was glass. And that lake's never glass. So when that lake's glass, there's actually a problem because the storm's coming. It's building. We saw black cloud on the Canadian side, which for people that don't understand the relation of New York, Lake Ontario to Canada, that's like 60 miles. And you can see almost to Canada, but the horizon basically just drops off. But you can see like this tiny black fucking cloud over there. Fishermen that are locals start calling, and they're asking the guys in the boat that had radar. Because at the time that I was going over there, you didn't just have radar and you couldn't pull your smartphone up and get the weather forecast. There was guys that literally had Fruno radar systems in their boat to give you an actual live radar reading. And they were like, get off the lake. Within 20 minutes, we went from glass to hail and 6-footers, and guys were lining up on the way into the boat ramp, like tying off to each other, waiting for people to get their boats out of the water, because by the time we got our boat on the trailer and got halfway to the campground, there was 55-gallon steel garbage cans rolling down the fucking like you go from calm to hurricane, and then 20 minutes later it was calm again. The lake still built waves, but as far as the wind and all that was gone. And that's where you learn respect for, even in my little 12-foot boat in a sunny day, you don't know when a stupid jet skier is going to come run into you. You don't know when, honestly, a fucking snapping turtle could pop up and flip your kayak. Like, there's a lot that can happen. So having that, and honestly going with the safety conversation, is I highly recommend having barb cutters and some sort of first aid kit to help bleeding. Because
dude, I'm freaking, so 2 years in a row, I ended up getting jacked in the finger with a 110 hook, and those Kasuge freaking things suck. And both times I did not have.
Really?
Yep. Both times did not have a freaking cutter with me. Well, this past year I went ahead and got one, and you know what? I didn't get a freaking hook in my hand.
Dude, you won't. So I highly recommend. I'm actually thinking about buying one of those hook pullers too.
Yeah.
They make that little. They make a kayak one now. It's kind of small.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the company that makes them it's not. It doesn't have the handle and all that. It's just the stripped down J-hook style deal with like a little metal thing, and it would actually fit in the track pack. That's how small they made it. So I'm thinking about getting one of those because it would be nice to have. But in barb cutters, the one thing I will say, and I'm usually the guy that goes cheap, is get good ones.
Yeah.
And if you can, find the ones that have like the spring assist to them a little bit, because regular diagonal cutters will cut a drop shot hook, they'll cut. But you get an EWG, you get like a 3/0 EWG hook.
Yep.
And you only got one hand, remember. And here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you right now. This is Murphy's Law. You're not going to get the hook in your non-dominant hand.
No.
It's going to be in your dominant hand, and you're going to have to squeeze that diagonal cutter with your non-dominant hand. It's just how it works. I've gotten hooks in my hands like 2 or 3 times. It's always been my right hand.
Mm-hmm.
It always is.
Yep. Same here. I freaking both times it was because I hooked the pickerel.
Dude.
And the thing is I reached in there. I'm like, I really shouldn't be doing this because I know what's going to end up happening. And the fish was laying there. And I'm like, okay, he's calm. I picked him up. I'm like, okay, he's calm. And I had the pliers and I went to grab onto him. And as soon as it touched, like it wasn't even, I didn't even get a hold of it.
Yep.
As soon as it touched, he jerked and freaking slid right down and right in the freaking hand.
Yeah, Michael Bradley said you got hooked
Yeah.
with both hands at the same time this
That's
year. That's
insane.
crazy.
Imagine that. I'm handcuffed.
Well, and the thing is like having a pair of longer pliers for those pike. If you have fish like we do with pike and pickerel, having a long nose plier, because some of those like regular stock fishing pliers are your hand's pretty close.
Yep.
Oh, not close, goes in the have to go in the mouth.
And
if they hit
the
it.
freaking pike and pickerel have the enzyme in their mouth that you bleed like crazy if you get their teeth, man.
Oh yeah.
Brutal.
I got just barely shinked a little bit, and I'll sit there for like 15, 20 minutes, just like.
I almost bought it, and I just didn't have the money at the time. I almost bought Quick Clock for that reason, to keep in my kayak. But that's definitely, I highly recommend like having good pliers. And honestly, if you have toothy fish, bring freaking grips too.
Yep.
Lip gripper.
I got a pair of grippers that are clipped out on my seat.
Yep, because it's and honestly, especially if you're a jerkbait fisherman.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Because even I have no shame in saying if I hooked a fish with a mega bass jerkbait, I'm using the lip gripper to get that jerkbait out of his mace. Because those hooks, if you look at them wrong, you're gonna bleed. You'll bleed just from you could almost hook yourself through the package with a mega bass hook.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell they do to those things, but they are without a doubt. I think the only hook that even comes close to being that sharp is the BKK, those freaking what is it, SS71 freaking EWGs, and even those aren't nearly as sharp as the Kasuages. Those things, it's like you touch them and you're bleeding out.
The Sixth Sense ones, the ones that they put in the baits are like that. The mega bass ones, I looked into it at one point. It's what it is they're chemically sharpened.
Yeah.
But I also think a lot of the things with the mega bass ones is that they're thin. They're super thin wire.
Yeah,
and that's why they also bend and break really quickly too. But like they're so thin that like you can just take it and set it on your finger and it will start to like suck into your finger. Like I swear it's force field into your finger. It's crazy.
But they're designed like that, so when your fish comes up and slashes at it, you're still gonna hook them.
You're still gonna hook them, yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So I mean, I understand it. Doesn't mean it doesn't suck when you freaking get stuck by one.
Well, the problem with those too is treble hooks specifically, those ones, they're short shank. So when you get it in you, like the only one, I had to have one surgically removed from me for that reason because I buried it to the fucking bend.
Yeah.
And you can't push it back through because it doesn't have enough on the other end to get it back out.
My first freaking year that happened to me, it got buried so much I actually had to freaking go offshore and get off the boat, go onshore, and then find somebody. And this was on Tickle Naked, so luckily there was somebody there at one of the houses, and he had to cut it with one of his freaking cutters.
Yep.
But I ended up fishing the rest of the day and then went to the hospital afterwards. But yeah, that thing was like so far down in the finger, it was ridiculous. The second time it happened to me, I saw it coming, so I kind of like pulled away, which might have kind of got it in less than it was going to be. And I was able to cut it off, but at the same time end up pushing it through.
Yep. I was with the wife and I caught it and it annoyed. This is the part that annoys me the most is it was a dink bass. It was like a 10-incher. I caught a 10-incher on a square bill and I had him on the front treble and I lipped him and I was trying to unhook the treble and he jumped.
Yep.
And he drove it right through the freaking through the side of the cuticle part. Like he got it under the nail and then back out, but I didn't have enough of the barb out. So I'm like hooked to the freaking fish while he's trying to get I'm trying to get the fish off, but I'm connected to him now. We're a team now.
Yep.
So I ended up getting the fish off and I had to take the crankbait off the split ring in my kayak because I didn't have any diagonal cutters.
Yep.
So then I pedaled back to shore with the freaking hook just fucking hanging out of my finger. I ended up having to go to my dad's because I didn't have any cutters with me and had him push it through and cut it while I was doing it. But yeah, that's probably, I don't know many anglers that haven't had that happen at least once.
Yep.
It's just
so that's cutters will always be in my boat.
Standard kit. I check them. I even buy like I have like a couple different sets in my kayak, and you have to buy. The problem is too is you got to be careful with check them because if you don't get stainless steel ones, they will rust quick.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They don't last very long if you don't get good.
Yep.
ones.
And make sure you get ones that the handles don't fall apart.
Yeah.
Like I have one where the rubber grip on and it's the only set that I have right now. They were actually an expensive pair. They were like $40 or $50. And but the handle, one of the handles is loose on it, like the rubber grip on the outside of it. So I have to like push it on there to make sure that it's seated.
Yep. Yeah, no, those are that's honestly probably one of the most valuable accessories you can have is so if you have electronics in your kayak, have fucking fuses.
Yep.
Have whatever fuses if you run a fuse block or if you have a motor that needs a fuse, have those. Have a little set of wire strippers and maybe a few pieces of wire or wire nuts that you can because I've had a few situations like I had that tournament that I lost my fish finder. And if I realized it, what it was is my terminal connector pulled out. And if I had a crimper and, ends, I could have just swapped it right there on the water and I would have been back up and running. But I ended up having to be without my fish finder all day because I didn't have a 17-cent part in my kayak. But
I had them in the
say
trailer.
that. Funny that you say that. I would suggest also always carrying some type of Allen set.
Absolutely.
And a pair of pliers, or not pliers, but like a wrench, in case you have to disassemble on the water, disassemble your trolling motor because you freaking went into a super shallow area and ended up getting bound up by about 200 yards of freaking braid.
Right.
Dude, you're lucky it's braid. It always is fucking big game mono for me. It's always, I don't know why. It's always, and it's big game.
Hang on, I gotta go back and check that picture.
It's always that green fucking big game mono. And am I wrong? Chris is laughing because he knows what I mean. It's always that shit. Like,
oh no, it wasn't freaking braid.
See?
That was bound up in my freaking trolling motor. It took me 30
It's always a big old
practice day. That was on a practice day on Gunnersville. It took me 30 minutes to take that apart and unwind it off my freaking trolling motor.
Honestly, on the safety standpoint too, having been someone who experienced this too this year, buy a prop kit and put it in your kayak.
Yeah.
If you have a pedal drive or even the trolling motors have a kit too, buy a prop kit, have the nut, the freaking shear pin, and the actual prop, and especially with like most of the brands, I can't speak for Hobie. You have fins, so it's different. Like they're all like $30. They're never that expensive.
They're not.
And you can buy most of the companies at this point. You can buy a kit that it's in a bag with the shear pin, the nut, and everything that you need to just. And then, like you said, have an Allen wrench or a socket that you can swap whatever size you need. At the very least, know what you need for the size of Allen wrench you need for whatever, and have at least those in your boat. Because if I had had a prop that day, I would have been a lot happier fishing that tournament.
Right.
And bear fishing probably would have had less, back pain for the rest of the year. Hauling my ass around that all day. But definitely a prop. I would say that's probably one of the most important ones is having, as far as like non like safety thing, is like just have that, because you could be screwed in a real bad situation. You could be really screwed. I'm actually going to be keeping a freaking spanning wrench and everything in my kayak next year.
Yeah, because you need the spanner to take yours apart.
Fucking native drive.
Yeah.
So what happens? We try to go too advanced and things get crazy.
That's the thing, though, is that drive is actually.
I went back to easier with the Kusa.
Dude, it would. See, does the Kusa have to flip up like the Nar, or is it?
So they do have the Kusa ends up. It's got two models. You've got the Kusa X, which is open space, all that sort of stuff. it's a river paddle kayak that you can stick a motor on the back and
Right.
all that sort of stuff. They have the Kusa FD, which is the flex drive.
Is that what you're getting?
What's that? No, I'm getting the X.
You're getting the X? Okay.
Yeah, because I like the idea. So originally I was going to get the NAR. I actually got to see it in person and realized that it's not going to be conducive to my style of fishing because I like to have a clear, open deck to work with my fish when I'm, taking all the pictures and stuff and putting them on the board. Yeah. And you can't really do that with the pedal drive with the way that it's set up.
You can, but you have to be creative.
Right. Yeah. So it's almost like you got to put it between, under your feet and get your feet all like propped up away from it. And I just don't want to do that. Yeah. So
that's one of the reasons why I went with the native, because the Old Town, it was fine, but you had to put the board at a 45 because the gunnels weren't wide enough.
Yeah.
And then you had to basically set it against the drive at a 45, whereas the native has literally a fucking slot.
Yeah. Yep.
But
yep.
Yeah, the Kusa's light too.
Yeah, it's 90, I think it's 98 pounds without anything in it. So
which is funny. That's a subjective statement. The Kusa's light. My kayak's 170 pounds dry.
Yeah, so. It's light comparatively speaking to like the other fishing kayaks in the industry. It's still pretty heavy, but it's a lot more maneuverable. My BSB, the only reason that thing is even maneuverable is because you can pick it up with two hands.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's still 145, 150 pounds dry. And then
which is crazy because mine's 170.
Yeah.
Mine's not even a 12 foot. The 12 foot's even heavier.
Yeah.
But of course my drive probably weighs 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Because it's stainless, it's cast iron drive all the way down through. The only thing that's plastic on that whole thing is the prop.
That's fucking nuts. Cast iron drive.
Dude, you could use that thing as a self-defense tool if you got jumped at the ramp. You could probably take that out and take someone's head off with it. As Chris, I rode that thing. I cut a groove into a fucking shell bed next to Chris on Salem.
Yeah.
Like I literally had to pry it out of the fucking rock to get it back. That's how I broke my prop. But like that's the one thing I will say is you can run that thing. I'm not really worried about running that thing into the ground, but it's heavy, and because it requires maintenance, you have to actually take it apart and grease it every once in a while. Or it's what I'm actually going to do this spring before I take it out in the spring is I'm just going to literally fill. It's got like grease fitting hole. I'm just going to flood the whole thing with as much grease as I can get in there, and then I'll just run it for most of the summer and then go and change it, towards the end of the year. And just it's going to be a pain in the ass to clean out because I'm going to have to wipe all that out of there. But the problem is I used the wrong grease the first time I did it. I used the website I went to said you could use red and tacky, and it made sense in my head because it would stick better and it would stay there longer and it wouldn't get thrown off because it's a big chamber in there and it's basically just two gears that fit together. So I was like, well, that would make sense. It's going to stay on there and not just get thrown off when you pedal. Yeah, no, it doesn't stay, and then it's basically ungreased and then it starts to skip. So then I ended up buying the actual stuff that Native recommends, and all of a sudden I stopped having problems. So
imagine that.
Yeah, go figure. Whereas my Old Town, I broke a fucking entire blade off of a prop and pedaled all day with one blade.
Yep, I've done that.
And it was fine. It's vibrating.
And I put it so hard it snaps that locking nut, the lockdown nut. I've snapped like 5 of those.
Yeah.
I have like 2 of them I can still use, even though they're broke. I can use like a quarter of it.
Yeah.
Because I have a spare of everything. The prop, that nut, the prop nut, the shear pin, they're all in there.
Yeah, you want to know what's aggravating? I have a fucking Old Town spare prop in my truck too. I just didn't have a Native one at the time.
Right.
I could swap out an entire Old Town setup. I even had at the time, because I'd taken the wife out, I even had a whole fucking Old Town PDL in my truck. I had a whole backup PDL. It just wouldn't fit in the native, or I probably would have gone back and gotten it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, dude. I had considered, if I don't sell my Old Town,
Buy that new EPDL,
buy the fucking PDL that fits in it.
the new one, that
Yeah,
EPDL. That's
Yeah. You can literally put that. They made a retrofit.
Yeah, they made 3 models, so it'll fit in any of the old, even my old one. Mine's a 2018. It'll still fit in that.
Yeah, that would be worth looking into.
Yeah, if I'm gonna do electric, I'm gonna go with trolling motor, so I have spot lock.
See, that's the thing is I thought the same thing. Is like I probably would just put a front mount.
I want spot lock. If I'm going power, I'm going spot lock.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I want my PDL, no matter what I do. I will never not have that.
Yeah, I will never not have a pedal just because of the redundancy. But,
well, it's the way I fish. I use mine standing up. I use it sitting down.
Well, yeah, I do too.
Have you looked at the new Garmin drive?
Yeah.
The one for the back?
Yeah, that has spot lock.
Oh, that one has spot lock too?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah, that would be perfect. Because then if it's on the back, it's not in front of me. I would love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I would put that on my Old Town.
It would seem so. The only issue I would see with it is it not like putting you in the right position.
No, it would though. That's the problem with spot lock is it's going to put you with the wind in your face. I'd rather have the wind at my back.
Yeah. That being said, you can also mount like freaking anchor wizard in the front to hold you.
Yeah.
So that you're not like, so that it's not turning you away from where you want to fish.
That's actually something I'm looking at next year. Is I'm thinking about throwing an anchor wizard off the front of my kayak.
Mm-hmm.
I did last year. It worked and it was fine. I just did like an T-track eye.
Yeah.
And then I ran paracord through that, and then I pulled my anchor back so I could just throw my anchor off and it would hold me off the front. Yep. But for tournaments specifically, I don't anchor a lot when I'm fun fishing.
Yeah.
But when I go to measure a fish in a tournament, I like to throw my anchor so I don't have to like pay attention. I want to take a good photo and I don't want to have to pay attention to, oh shit, I'm drifting into the shoreline or get way off my spot. And an anchor wizard would be nice to put on.
Yeah, I use a stakeout pole as long as it's deep.
I thought about doing something like that too. The kayak, that Garmin motor, dude, that motor's like $3,000 though.
I know, but what it does is pretty. If I didn't know it did spot lock, now that I know that, that might be the one I look at.
Yeah, take a look at it and see what you think.
The Tarova's $2,500.
Yeah,
or $2,000.
The fact is, though, is that one freaking. The only thing I worry about that one is it doesn't have any kick up at all. If it hits something, you're hitting it.
Yeah.
That's the only concern I have with it is it has no kickback.
See, Chris, with the Garmin is the only issue I see with that is it's only like I want to say it's like a 50-pound thrust, so it's has less thrust than an XI3.
Yeah.
But I think if it's rear mount, then it probably won't really matter.
Right.
I think I saw someone did a demo of that thing, and it was like they were going like 3.5 at a Hobie.
Yep.
So, I mean, and Hobie's a heavy. Like we bitch about our boats, the Hobie is the king of weight. Like those things are heavy.
Yeah, you're freaking. It's a Hobie's a PA, like the PA 14's like a freaking battleship.
Yeah, it's a big boat. So it's. I wouldn't mind. Like I'm pretty much done accessorizing my kayak next year because I'm going to be investing in the boat and getting that. Like, because I really want to have. I'm not going to lie. There may be a couple, depending on what Pete decides for locations. A couple of the lakes that he's mentioned that he was going to do our Slay Nation events on. I may just run the boat because.
Nick and I always say we're going to do it, but I'm afraid somebody would bitch.
I mean, I wouldn't, but
I know you won't. But
I don't see where. To be honest, to be completely honest, if I had a teammate, I don't know if the boat's an advantage.
I think it would be for the way Nick and I fish. It would be because he could be on my shoulder and we could double team.
Yeah. Okay. See,
like
for
right now, we
me-
don't get to really double team because of the angle and everything.
Yeah. See, with me, like with like Bear, like hopefully he gets to team up with me next year. Like the way we fish, he loves to be practically 1 foot on the fucking bank.
Right.
Like
So for
he
you,
is
being separate's better.
He's dirt shallow. So what happens a lot of times with the 30-yard rule, he's right up on the fucking bank sight fishing, and then I'm 30 yards out casting deep. So we're getting the best of like both types of fishing within that zone. So in the boat, I will be the first to admit I suck at boat positioning for my boater.
Yeah.
Because I'm good at getting myself lined up, but I suck at getting them the right angle to cast.
That's where I excel. Like I'm so used to fishing with my dad, my kids, everybody. I'll take 3 or 4 people in the boat and I'll tell them go in the back.
Yeah.
You'll get better casts in the back than you will in the front. Because that way I'll back the boat down the lake, and
no, that's
people are always like, why are you going backwards? I'm like, so they can catch the fish, because they all bitch at me if I catch them first anyway.
Yeah. So, but that may be if we do like Magog or we do any of those bigger lakes. The only thing I'll have to figure out is if I don't upgrade my trolling motor, I'll probably have to buy a second battery because I only have a lead acid in there, and running that all day, I probably will kill a battery. But
no, I think the boat would be a huge advantage for Nick and I. The way we fish and measuring the fish. Measuring the fish. I mean, there's so many advantages in the boat.
Yeah.
Like measuring, netting, sight fishing, so much better. Being able to see what you're casting at better. There's so many advantages in the boat.
Yeah, I'm probably. It depends on what we do for lakes, but if we do bigger ones, I'm probably going to end up with at least if I heard he was talking about possibly doing Magog again or even St. Catherine.
Yeah, see, Magog didn't bother me. The only problem with Magog for me was all the tall weeds. And they were just eating up the Old Town Drive,
Yeah, we had the same problem with like St. Catherine. It would be just from the boat traffic,
right? Being
able to be in a boat and not having to dodge jet skis all day and worry about them fucking constantly coming at me. That would be nice, but yeah, we're going on an hour and a half, and I told these guys before the show started that we were going to start trying to limit these to an hour, because I have some tip-ups I got to rig for the weekend. You guys did not request a topic last week, so we're going to extend that again to this week. If you guys want to pick a topic, put it down in the comments. I will do a giveaway to whoever's topic we pick. It has to be in the comments. The chat doesn't translate over, so you have to go back and play it after. If not, then we will pick something, or we'll just talk about the fact of how I went and froze my ass off and caught 2 perch and was pissed off about it. For scheduling purposes, I do want to mention that next week will be our last show of 2025.
Yep.
We're not going to do one because I'm not going to do a show on Christmas Eve, and I'm not going to do a show on New Year's Eve. It's people need to spend time with their family and all of that. Brody, you send me some pictures, dude, if you get out there and get on. Yeah, so we're gonna basically do one more show. We'll be back. We are going to tentatively, unless something drastically changes, I am kind of backpedaling on the whole shutting things down. We're just gonna run all year. We may go to twice a month in the summertime, depending on how busy everybody's schedules get and everything. We might, between tournaments and stuff like that, some of us it may just be me and Chris or me and Jesse or me by myself or whoever, because we all kind of have crazy ass summers typically. But the plan is to try to continue just running all year long, because I'm actually having fun doing this and you guys are actually watching it. So we're going to continue on. And honestly, it keeps the sponsors happy when we're talking about it.
I'll definitely be on the whole year because, Wednesdays, typically I'm not doing anything anyway. So
why I picked Wednesday, honestly, because it was like the perfect like midweek break. You can talk about how fishing went for the weekend, and the goal in the summertime is going to be we can pick topics, but it might just be a review of what we got on for fish, or how Chris beat me again in the fucking tournament by a half inch. And
Oh,
still
speaking
didn't
of
win.
tournament, I'm officially on the Bass Tri-State Trail now.
Nice.
Yep.
Is it so it's a tri-state, so it's New Hampshire, New York, and
It's New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont.
okay.
You need to
Got
have
it.
a Bass membership. What else?
Yep, Bass membership, and then you got to reach out to the New Hampshire Bass Nation Club, and then you got to give them your W-9 and sign the waiver. Well, first you got to reach out and say, "Hey, I'm interested. You know, what do I got to do?"
Right.
And they'll send you the waiver and stuff, and then it's like a $60 membership fee for the year. And I think each tournament's like $100 or something to enter.
Okay.
Will they let you pick anyone you want? You got to do them all. You got to do a set number.
No, you. So if you want to be in the Tournament of Champions, you got to finish in the top 5 of at least one of the tournaments. And then if you're in the AOI race, you got to do a minimum of 5. But the more you do, the more you can. So if you do
Throw out your others.
if you do 6 or 7, you can knock out your 2 worst, your 1 or 2 worst. So what I'm planning on doing is there's so far their tentative schedule. It looks like there's one in the end of April. I think it's like April 18th. And then there's 3 in May. So I'm probably going to do those first 4. And then I might do 1 in July, and then the last 2 in August before the TOC.
Yeah, the August one's here, right? There's a couple of them that are here.
So the August one is Bombazine in the beginning of August, and then there's it's Ossipee Lake at the end, mid-August, and then end of August is TOC on Champlain.
Okay.
Yep.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Bombazine's an interesting lake. I really wish they'd do less tournaments on Bombazine. I wish they would start putting some caps on how many tournaments they can have on Lake.
You said that one's August? I don't know if I like that.
The beginning of August.
I'd rather do a spawn tournament on Bombazine than
If it
freaking
was a
August.
spawn tournament on Bombazine, I'd sign up. I did pretty good on that.
I actually would prefer an August Bombazine tournament because I can go punch grass when nobody else is doing it and probably end up doing really well.
Yeah. Bombazine's a weird lake, dude. The problem with Bombazine is it gets fucking pounded.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt.
It is incredible how many tournaments go through there and just how many people fish that place. Like it's fun. It's a good lake, and part of why I want to get my boat fixed.
Yep.
It's because I want to fish there more. I want to fish Champlain more, and in a boat, it's less stressful.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm not as worried about the stupid jet skier blowing my doors off in my kayak. I don't really. If he wants to get close
You
to
can
my
move
boat
around. You can check one end of the lake to the next.
Well, it's a lot easier to wind up and throw a 2-ounce sinker at a jet skier in your boat than it is in a kayak because I can get a crow hop in.
Right.
So I can do a lot more damage from the boat, or I can just chase him down with the boat at least. So, but yeah, guys, we're gonna end it right here. Like I said, we got one more episode of 2025. I'm hoping that at least at some point I'll be able to talk about the monster pike I caught, or the bass, or the fact that I caught anything at all over the next couple of days. Because Friday and Saturday I am ice fishing. I even joked with one of my coworkers. One of my coworkers is coming with me on Saturday. I'm like, if I have to go out there and drill a fucking hole and then pitch and flip from the shore just so I could keep fishing, I'm going to probably do that. But like, if I have to do it that way so I can jig the hole, that's fine. But I'm definitely going to get on the ice at some point, whether or not it's staying out there or just fishing in 3 feet of water, jigging for perch, and then
right.
Because I'll admit that that's a stupid logic, but worst case scenario, if I fall through, I just crawl back out because I can stand. So
be fucking careful out there, please.
Oh no, dude! I bought I have a float suit. I have a spud bar. I don't have the freaking yeah, dude. They rusted.
Yeah, they do. I used to have some that we used in the Coast Guard, and they all rust out.
So you know what I'm doing, because I'm probably not going to be able to get any between now and then. fucking flathead screwdrivers with paracord.
Yeah.
Redneck spikes.
Right.
When I buy bait, I might end up just going to Tom's to get bait. And Tom's in Castleton has all that shit.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I have all the stuff. And like I said, I know the topography of that lake to the point where, like, I took Bear there one day and it was literally like, oh, there's 12 feet here, there's 8 feet here. I know the whole, so I know exactly where I am. So I know I can stay. But I'm also like convinced that there's plenty of ice, but I'm also committing to, like, if I go out there and I punch through with that spud bar, I'm going home.
Yeah.
Like I have no desire to put my life in my hands to catch a 7-inch perch. It's just
Right.
I'm not that guy. Apparently, I'm not as hardcore an angler as some people because there's guys that are just fucking on champ. I heard there was guys potentially going out at Laughlin's.
Oh, I'll bet Lapid's had it. Yeah, Lapid's probably had ice because there was ice in at Kilcare. The north side had ice.
Yeah, but dude, Champ. So I will tell you right now, you will never see me on Champlain by myself.
Yeah, Missisquoi was locked in.
Yeah, I would love to fish it, and I will probably get on it this year, but I won't be out there by myself.
Yeah, I'll bet Dellenback was locked in
because that lake's too unpredictable.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there parts of Alberg shoreline was locked in on the west side.
See, I feel like
we launched the boat a week ago and it was locked in.
I feel like it's going to lock up earlier too because it's shallower.
Yeah,
you got a lot of that shoreline's going to freeze up quick because there's 4 less feet of water.
We were out in the main lake below Isle Mont and it was icing up around us.
Yeah. So. But yeah, guys, we'll stop going down our rabbit holes and we'll end it right here. We will see you guys next week. Put a topic down in the comments if you're watching this after the fact, and if we pick your topic, we're gonna do a little bait pack, and I'll probably pick something from the pile of stuff.